Today's word is love. Love and sex and family, these are things that typically do not appear in most people's games. And this is strange because the need for sex, the need for love, the desire to have a family is a huge driver for most people. You know, you want a better job so you can afford to raise a family or to marry up in some way or to gain access to a better mate or whatever. So much of human endeavour on both genders, all genders, is driven by this desire to find a soulmate, to find a partner, to fuck them, to raise a family with them, whether or not you can actually have children yourself. And yet it's so conspicuously absent. And this seems to have struck many people as a bad idea, and has got me in a lot of trouble for wanting to explore or incorporate human sexuality into games. The good, the bad, and the ugly sides of it. And I'm fascinated by that difference. The fact that we're willing to completely accept violence and loot as being meaningful and important in games, and yet that we shy away from love and romance. I mean, sure, it can be awkward when you're all a bunch of pudgy blokes round a table. You know, of course it is, but you don't have to give a blow-by-blow account, pun intended, for it to play a role in the game. Why shouldn't people be attracted to NPCs? Why shouldn't NPCs be attracted to players? Why characters? I mean, why shouldn't characters be attracted to each other? And there's no payoff a lot of the time for it in games, which is part of the problem, I think. So maybe we need to give some kind of mechanical advantage if we want this to be a focus in the game, if we want people to do it, like advantage if your loved one is threatened, or advantage if you and your loved one work together, or regaining extra hit points or something if you spend the night together, something like that. You know, there needs to be some kind of mechanical advantage, I think, to encourage people to incorporate this side of things, because it's always great for story, and some people will go along with it, some people will bring it up. Even more unusually, I think, in my experience directly and from everything that I've seen online, the only people that really unbidden bring this kind of side of games up are people with unconventional sexuality and unconventional gender identity. It's like they just can't leave that behind when they play a character. They have to bring it into the game with them. It isn't bad, I'm just observing that this is a phenomenon, and it can be awkward if you're playing, say, an authentic medieval game where a transgender person who was attracted to the same gender that they present as would likely get murdered, straight up fucking murdered, and that's no fun for people. Well, it can be fun to deal with and to foil prejudice and so on in the past, but those same people don't tend to react well to a realistic historical context for what they're doing. But this shouldn't discourage us, I think. I think these things are so important, they're such massive and powerful human drivers, that we should use them more. Not necessarily with the players if they're too uncomfortable, but between NPCs and driving stories and plots and adventures, or even dungeons. The Taj Mahal is basically a gigantic memorial and would-be dungeon devoted to someone's love for someone else. So a tomb to a loved one, protecting their body and their jewellery and their items and so on that they had in life, that can be an interesting theme, and may even manage to create a little bit of guilt in even the most hard-bitten and cynical adventurer.